So, for anyone, well, we may have fixed this in post, but I should illustrate that what I'm seeing now is Rob upside down. Not the first time, which sounds weird, but we're back. We may have fixed this in post. Hopefully, some magic may have been cast on Rob's video, but for reasons we won't go into, Rob is upside down, and I've got to get through this entire hour without laughing.
Well, now when Louise wants to know, it's OBS, Louise. So I use OBS to flip my camera around because I've got it mounted upside down.
It will do. We can do this. We've done worse shows. We can confirm we're not dead as well. I mean, there's not been an episode for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah, well, this is the second time in a row, isn't it? So there's been one episode in 6 weeks.
Wow. It's consistency, that's how you build a YouTube channel. It has been holidays, in fairness. It's been, everyone's on holiday now. If you send an email now, it never gets answered, doesn't it? So no one's working.
Well, particularly the entire Team Pixel staff, apparently. We'll get onto that later.
We'll get to that later. Yeah. We'll navigate that particular hurdle later. What's been happening? You've put a bunch of stuff in the show notes here about me, but the first one in your list is interesting. All right. Let's just go for that. Why did your telly blow up?
Well, I don't know. It's quite old. So I bought that telly about 7 years ago. It's a Philips Ambilight jobby. And we were just moving into this place, and Argos just happened to be having a telly sale, but on top of that they emailed me a coupon for an additional £100 off, and you weren't supposed to be able to use that coupon with other offers, but for whatever reason they let it through. So it was a reasonable telly. It was a Philips Ambilight 55-inch telly. It was fine. It was good, and I calibrated it using my, I've got a display calibration spectrometer thingy, and it got down to like a delta E of 2. So it was decent, and I ordered it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it turned up. It was up and running that evening because Argos delivery is bonkers. So it was about £1,000 RRP, but I got it for 400 quid because it was half price in their promotion, and I got 100 quid off. So I'm not too sad about it because it's given me 7 years of service, but it's the school holidays, and Peppa Pig is my stand-in parent for the older one who's not. Well, actually, no, not Peppa Pig anymore. She's outgrown Peppa Pig. She's into Ben and Holly. Have you discovered Ben and Holly yet?
Heard of it, but no, not yet.
It's from the same people that did the Peppa Pigs, but it's slightly more mature concepts.
We're suffering Bing at the moment. That's it's constantly on.
Bing is the worst. I think that's my least favourite. He's such a wet wipe, isn't he?
We could spend an hour on Bing, I reckon. But utterly hideous. But it's constant because he will not watch anything else.
Oh, yeah. I try and wean him onto Ben and Holly. It's actually there was some jokes for parents in that.
I'm trying to Bluey to Terminator 2. That's my main goal.
Has he discovered Bluey yet?
A bit. He doesn't quite get it. For some reason, Bing beats everything at the moment. I'm hoping it's a very short phase. But Bluey, from what I've seen of him, from what I've heard of Bluey, it's great.
Yeah. So I wasn't in the market for a telly, but it became a necessity because every now and again I just need to plonk my daughter in front of the telly because I need to go and have a poo or something. So I thought there'd be loads of deals out there because it's post-Olympics, and I imagine that all the retailers stocked up on tellies, expecting people to buy a new telly to watch the Olympics. But no, very scarce. We're thin on the ground. So I think we're in that sort of. There are good times of year to buy tellies when they're trying to clear out last year's stock, and then there are bad times of year. And I think this is not peak telly buying season or maybe it is because like lots of new tellies have just come out over the summer, possibly because of the Olympics. So discounts are few and far between. Anyway, I was going to get, who's that brand you're friends with? Hisense, because they're all over the place, aren't they? I mean, they're a budget brand. You're going to sacrifice build quality. I don't know how their reliability is, but their lineup is so hideously confusing. It just did my head in. So, you know, I just wanted a 55-inch reasonable telly. I don't want to get like a Sony A95L that costs $2,500 because I've got small children who'll destroy it. I'll just cover it in jam and, you know, throw things at it. And it was tempting to go bigger, but I didn't want to go bigger either because then that increases the attack vector, doesn't it, of possible things that could hit it and destroy it. Yeah. So I was just looking for just a reasonably good telly. I looked at the Hisense because you've reviewed them. They're sort of all over the place, and they're meant to be all right. But their lineup is just they had like about a dozen 55-inch models, ranging from £400 to £1,000, and it just did my head in looking into the specs.
It's nuts, isn't it? I agree. A lot of the TV brands are like that, though. There's a lot of it's just different regional variations and stuff. And
yeah, so it was just really frustrating because each model was gimped in some specific different way, and just rooting through all of their specs, I just couldn't be bothered. I gave up in the end. I looked at your usual suspects, your Samsungs. I would quite happily have had another Philips, but again, I'll buy a Philips Ambilight if it's a good amount cheaper than the other brands, because I do quite like that backlighty business, and I will miss that because I haven't gone for an Ambilight. So anyway, long story short, I've got a budget LG OLED. So they've just released the 4 series. Because, you know, they've got like this letter and number scheme where it's sort of, you know, B3, G3, C3. So I think it goes sort of. Have they got an A? They might have an A. I don't know. So. They've got a B series, a C series, and a G series, which is sort of good, better, best. And I found that this B3, it's this year's budget telly from LG, and it seems to tick all the boxes. So obviously, the C3 goes brighter and the G3 goes brighter still and has better image processing. But given that I was coming from a 7-year-old LCD, it was I figured that any OLED was going to be all right. Anyway, I found one at Costco for £800 or £819 delivered, nice. Which I think for a 55-inch up-to-date OLED is good. And so it's fine. So it's up and running. It hasn't changed my world. It's just a telly, but it's a very nice telly. The colours are saturated. The blacks are very black. It's nice. That's all I've got to say about it, really. But there are 2 interesting things about it, right? One is that on the box it tells you that it's got 5 years of software updates, which is amusing. I mean, I won't be using WebOS or whatever the LG operating system is because it's just going to be hooked up is hooked up to the Apple TV. That's my interface of choice. So yeah, it just amuses me that that's a concern for modern television purchasers now. Is how many years of security updates am I going to get from my smart TV? I say it doesn't matter to me because it's not hooked up to the internet. I'm not using any of that. But the other thing is that it it hooks into HomeKit. I can control the actual telly functions. I can change the inputs. I can turn it on and off from the Home app.
Nice.
No one needs that. No, that's completely unnecessary. Because I mean, nice. As soon as you turn on the Apple TV with HDMI, whatever, it turns on anyway. So yeah. Oh, then Apple TV recognised that it's Dolby Vision. So yeah, I think that's quite unusual at that sort of money, $800 to get a Dolby Vision capable OLED for under £1,000, 55 really inches.
Good. Yeah, you normally have to go way above 1,000 for that, don't you?
Yeah, so I'm quite pleased with that. But it was just out of necessity. I wasn't in the market for a new telly, and it seems like now is a really bad time. So as Louise in the chat has just pointed out that after the Euros, there was a massive telly sell-off as well.
There was, yeah. Well, you've done the right. I tell you what, you have done. You've done the right thing in terms of the size of the TV. Because what I don't recommend is getting a 98-inch TV and attempting to walk it up an L-shaped staircase.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, I live in a townhouse, so my living room's on the second floor, and so is my kitchen. When we moved here, I got an enormous American-style fridge freezer, and I had to hoist it over the balcony. So I had to hire a hydraulic crane to, a hydraulic platform to get it up and over. So I'm not looking forward to when that dies, because that is also 7 years old. I don't know how long fridges are supposed to last, but I'm not looking forward to the
out, I suppose.
Well, you jest, but you can add it to the LG ThinQ app.
It's nuts, isn't it? It's crazy. I've got a courtesy car at the moment from Land Rover, and it keeps reminding me whenever I pull up and stop, even at lights, occasionally it pops up and says, "There's a software update. Do you want to?" And you look at the small print, and it says it will take 45 minutes, and the car won't work. And you're sat in there in traffic, thinking, "Is it going to do the update before the lights go green?" What?
Well, we need to talk about that. Why have you got a courtesy car? Is your Sport broken already?
I've had all of this on TikTok already.
All right.
Trust me. No, it hasn't broken. No, there's a few cosmetic things. You know, when you buy a second-hand car, and it may just be me because I'm so finicky and a perfectionist when it comes to cars, but I always find things that I think should have been fixed cosmetically before the resale. And to cut a long story short, it's taken weeks and weeks to get it booked in because the original salesman left and went to Aston Martin or something, it's just taken a while. So that's why my car is with him at the moment. But I've got an Evoque in place of it at the moment, which is a very interesting car.
Oh yeah, how are you finding that?
It's not for me at all. I get why people buy them, but it's all right. It's a hybrid, which is an interesting experience. Again, not really for me. I think either go all in with electric or don't bother. It's very sparse inside. It's very. I think that the Tesla-ification of cars seems to be. It doesn't seem to have any brands that it hasn't kind of infiltrated. Because Land Rover have removed pretty much everything from that interior apart from a screen. And the most annoying thing about it, the one thing that I don't understand with a lot of modern cars, is the fact that you don't get a physical volume knob on the dash somewhere still. It's only on this one, it's only on the steering wheel, which sounds okay until this happened yesterday. You park up and you may have turned in, quarter turn, half turn, whatever, and the volume's over here somewhere, or it's upside down, and then you're trying to work out how, because it hasn't got a mute button either, so you have to work out how to turn the volume down and where it is on the steering wheel, and is up down now or is down. Just give me a fucking little knob. Give me a little knob. There's your show title, guys. Give me that so I can twiddle it. Yeah, no, I agree. How did we get onto this? We were talking about fridges a minute ago and TVs.
I've no idea.
Brilliant. Well, we're back anyway. This is what happens if you're new to this. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe. Not enough people are doing that. Lots of people are watching it, but not enough people are doing that. So if you're enjoying these random conversations, then get involved.
Niall gave me access to the YouTube studios. I've been looking at the stats. It's quite interesting, isn't it? It's like about 80% of the people watching this aren't subscribed.
Is it 80%?
Something like that, yeah.
There you go. Well, in that case, guys, if you're watching it and enjoying it, do us a favour and hit the subscribe button. You'll hear more and more random ramblings from us about fridges and Range Rover Evoques and massive TVs. Because, I know one of the things you've noted on my list of news is that we do now have a 98-inch TCL TV upstairs in the studio. There is a video of myself, my dad, and Niall getting it up the stairs. And it was a horrendous experience.
People subscribe to your newsletter will know this, but obviously your background looks different. I mean, I would have noticed it anyway, even if I hadn't watched the newsletter, obviously, because I'm me. But there is a noticeable amount of room echo now, isn't there?
There is, yeah, because we've got rid of everything in here. Basically, everything's gone to the tip. No, we've had a massive clear out and a big kind of shovel, a big shovel around of things. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a spring clean. It was a huge spring clean actually. It's the first time in 4.5 years that I've got rid of stuff. So you can imagine how much rubbish was in here. But yeah, we've taken down the acoustic blankets, which is why it's a bit echoey at the moment, which we will fix, obviously. But it's so much better. We've got room now for other people to work in here, so Niall can come in and work, and we've got a settee, a kind of TV seating area where you can go and sit and chill out and watch your 98-inch TV. Dedicated overhead rig over there, which is great.
I mean, Niall's editing setup looks mega. He's got like dual BenQ. Are they 32-inch?
Yeah,
4K displays.
Basically. It was what was my editing rig. He's not there. He's not. I'm looking over there. He's not there at the moment. But yes, it's a great little setup. Big setup.
And what, you're using the studio display now, eh? When you need
I've gone back to using that. Yeah, I've downgraded to the studio display.
So you mentioned your overhead rig. So obviously I've been to your studio, and what was there before was a big cabinet with, well, it was full of boxes, and I think you had all your lenses. So that's that there. I thought that's what that was. Yeah. But it's got other boxes on it now.
I basically came in one day and Niall had moved everything off it, put everything in the corner, and then somehow moved all this. He even got the sofa upstairs on his own. No idea how he did it. He's the guy's. I mean, he's an athlete, which helps, I suppose, but he's a machine. But no, yeah, that is the original cabinet of rubbish. Basically, most of that rubbish has gone to the recycling centre. Yeah, so yeah, things have changed around a little bit. Although this area is still in the same place. I've just moved the desk, basically, just swung it around. So apart from that, nothing here has changed really. Yeah, it's part of a bigger plan to do different things in here, and what have you, which we'll talk about at some point. But it just feels lighter and airier. It's just the echo. The echo's annoying, but it's one of those things.
Oh well. So that colossal telly, that's mini LED, is it?
It is, yeah. I mean, again, TCL have got about 1,000 different versions of the 98-inch TV, but this is like the kind of mid-ish range one. I think it's about $3,500. They've got one which is about 1,800 quid, which isn't that different in terms of specs to this one. But it's for a 98-inch TV. If you've got a house big enough, and boy, do you need a house big enough, that is quite a good deal, I think. If you want to get yourself a massive telly, and the size of it never gets old. Maybe it's because it's not my main TV. You know, I go home like you. I watch a 55-inch TV at home, but it never seems to get any smaller. And my son Harrison loves it. He thinks it's a massive iPad. Going back to what you were saying about jam being smeared over stuff, the one thing I would say is that he seems to get it. A couple of times he's gone up to it and tried to interact with it, thinking it's a massive iPad. And he understands now that he's not allowed to. And he just kind of looks at it and feels like he's in Bing. That's the... yeah, we have been playing Bing on it. So yeah, that's... it's, yeah, big updates to the studio, which is exciting.
Apologies for my furious look while you were saying that. My daughter was trying to come in, so I was shooing her away.
Nothing looks furious upside down. When anything doing upside down is completely demolished by the fact that you are upside down. You can be as angry as you like. You look funny. Some of the gear, isn't there? Some of the stuff I've been playing with since we've been here, not been here rather. One thing which isn't on your list, so I'm jumping around all over the place, but you'll love this, or you won't love this, is these.
Oh, you got some of those. When are we going to hear your thoughts on those?
This is why you've got to watch this on YouTube so you can see what I'm holding up. So yeah, these are the Dyson On-Track. That's the case, which is very, very AirPods Max case-like, but a bit better because it covers most of the headphones. But yeah, these are their massive, they are huge cans from Dyson.
Did they furnish you with some swappy outy bits, or you've just got it as it is?
They didn't. They just said this. I mean, it's a shame. Yeah, it is a shame because you can take. For those who don't know, you can take off the outer. It's a bit fiddly. You can take off the outer case things, and you can change the colour of that if you want to. And as you would guess, you can also take off the pads and change those, and customise them pretty much any way you like, which is nice. A weird product though, isn't it? I mean, again, I've only had these for a couple of days, but it's a very brave product from a company like Dyson, I think. They're coming into an incredibly competitive market with manufacturers that have been in it for decades and decades, and very fiercely loyal fan bases for each type of headphone, or each headphone brand. And they've come in with something like this, which I think is very, very brave of them. Or stupid. It's one of the two, isn't it?
How do they sound? That's what matters, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, they're not. They're what you'd expect a pair of Dyson headphones to sound like. I don't know the history of it. I don't know anything about them. They came completely out of the blue. There was a press conference about a month or so ago, which I didn't go to. Niall went in instead. I was away. And it all kind of happened very quickly, and then it went quiet. And then they've been sending out review units kind of ad hoc, basically, and we've been lucky enough to get a pair. But they are what you'd expect, I think, from a brand new product from a brand like Dyson, who are more used to making vacuum cleaners and hand dryers. Okay,
it's their second attempt at headphones after that one with a air purifier bolted on the front.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
noise cancelling is good, very good noise cancelling. I'll say that. I think the design's interesting. They're very heavy. The case, like I say, is a bit too AirPods Max like for my liking, but they're interesting.
I think the most interesting thing you've got recently is a Surface laptop. Did they reach out to you, or did you give them a nudge?
No, they sent it across, because obviously this is all down to Snapdragon, isn't it, and the X Elite chip that's inside here. But no, they sent this out to us a couple of weeks ago. What's your thoughts on it? Have you used one, or have you just sort of seen it?
No, I haven't. I haven't used one, and I think me from a few years back might have got one in just for fun, but I don't think I can be bothered. One thing I will say about the reason is that I've had several Surfaces. I don't know if you recall. I've had various Surface Pros, and just all of them have gone wrong for some reason. And you had a Surface laptop a few years back, and that went wrong. And I don't know, just anecdotally, they don't seem to be all that reliable. What I will say is that the trackpads on Microsoft devices are fantastic. They're up there with MacBooks, I think.
Even more so now, because it's a proper haptic touchpad. I was just checking it still works, because I did have the last one. It's still 100% still working. It's really nice. It's a lovely laptop. It looks very familiar as well, as many people have pointed out. It looks a little bit like a MacBook Air from the previous generation. I like this colour as well. I like this kind of, I think it's called Dune. It's like a kind of very sort of, again, MacBook Air-like kind of goldy type colour. But it's a really good laptop, and there's very good, in terms of battery performance, it's great, really good. I was a bit worried to begin with. It wasn't great to begin with, but I think it was doing a bit of indexing and all that sort of stuff. But since it's sorted itself out, it does feel very much like a MacBook. And I know that, I've not tried them, but I know that the Samsung Snapdragon laptops haven't been very well received. I think Pete Matheson tried the Snapdragon version of the Samsung, and that was terrible in terms of battery life, apparently, which got me a little bit worried about that chip. But it does seem, in theory at least, to be okay in this one. So it's a really nice laptop.
Yeah, well, Simon, I also talked to Pete about his Samsung experience, and I don't think it's entirely down to the laptop or the chip in that laptop, because I think he had the top spec. The Samsung is the only one where you can get the absolute top tier Snapdragon Elite chip, I think. But no, he's running a lot of Electron apps, and they're x86 emulated on ARM, which is just the worst of all worlds, isn't it? So I think that might have had something to do with it. Yeah, I mean, you've covered a load of stuff. You've got a Galaxy Watch Ultra, the Flip 6, the OnePlus Pad 2. But I don't think I care about any of them enough to want to talk to you about them. You've got videos out on all of those.
I think the one thing very quickly worth talking about is the Watch Ultra, the Galaxy Watch Ultra, because it's finally a Galaxy Watch that I want to use.
Really? It looks horrible.
Yeah. Do you not like it?
No.
Why, is it the size of it? Is it the design? What is it?
It's the design. I don't like the circle in the squircle thing that's going on.
Circle in the squircle.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm really pleased with it.
All right.
There's your review. There's been lots of stuff, hasn't there? Flip 6. I'm a Fold 6 user, for anyone who only watches this podcast and hasn't seen my reviews and stuff. But yeah, I'm now a full-time Fold 6 user, which I'm very much enjoying. I'm not enjoying the battery life. That's a pain in the backside, but that's always been the case with Folds. But apart from that, the camera isn't anywhere near as good as the S24 Ultra or the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which I am having to use now for photography duties sometimes. And OnePlus stuff. The OnePlus stuff is good. I like the OnePlus Watch 2R. That review's coming out today. It's been a busy summer, but it's about to get very busy, obviously. Any more news from you, Rob? Any other things that you want to pick up on?
Well, so the reason we didn't put a podcast out last week because I was away on holiday in the Peak District. Actually, was it my fault or your fault? You were away the previous
Probably
week,
both,
I think.
to be honest.
So anyway, so we've been on holiday. So I was up in the Peak District, and I think I mentioned that I was going to get a MagSafe camera grip to play with while I was out, which I've got. So this is the Snap Grip, and it attaches to your iPhone. Let's get my iPhone. So
just via MagSafe. It doesn't
just via
protrude
MagSafe,
into the USB-C.
So you just slap it on there.
Nice.
And then off you go. But then it's got this.
Just quickly, does it feel confidence inspiring? Yeah. Okay.
It's you can jiggle it around. It's rock solid. Have you ever had what are they called? What's the really fancy case brand that Pete Matheson likes?
Who would that be?
I've got one of their cases around here somewhere. I can't remember what they're called. Hang on.
I think I know who you mean, but I don't know what they're called.
This lot with the what are they called?
Yeah,
Magback. Magback. I don't. Have you ever used one of those?
No.
Well, their thing is that their magnets are ludicrously strong, and they are. And this is up there with that. So if you ever used a Magback case, this has got a similar level of stickiness. So as well as giving you a physical, 2-stage shutter button, it's also got a battery pack in here, so that it keeps your phone topped up via wireless. Nice. And it's got another MagSafe ring on the front, so that you can get your trusty Samsung SSD in a MagSafe wallet. And again, I used to use one from Magback, but it was just a little bit too snug. And this one's got elasticated sides, so it goes in there. So anyway, nice. You can whack your SSD on there, and with a cable. Now, obviously, you can't put it that way around because, as you can see, it obscures the lens. So what I had before, I don't know if you remember when I had this little thingy, which I stuck on the back of the. So this is an encased MagSafe disc that you can just MagSafeify things with. So I had that stuck to a Samsung T5, and then I had this tiny little cable, and that's what I was using. Now, I was hoping to reuse that, but as I just showed, I do that, you'll see that it obscures the lens, so that is no good. So I had to get a new cable, which is a bit more bendy, slightly longer, a bit more bendy. It's got an L-shaped USB on it, and then orient the drive 90 degrees. So now that's what you end up with.
Oh wow. That's a rig, isn't it?
So I recorded a lot of holiday footage with iPhone 15 with the Snap Grip thingy, and then a MagSafe wallet attached to that, and it all worked out quite well. Although I discovered, I didn't know this, you probably did, that you can only record to external SSD in ProRes, which is a bit over the top for my just filming my girls on seesaws and things.
Yeah, it's a bit daft, isn't it?
So
I guess they felt that the people doing that kind of, having that kind of contraption would be shooting properly in ProRes.
Yeah, I guess. But I just wanted to give it a go, and so I had fun with that. But most of the footage I took while I was away on holiday was with the Insta360 gadgets. So the older one is old enough that you can just strap an Insta360 Go to her, set her off running around tree houses and things, without it falling off or losing it or whatever.
Nice. Were you happy with the footage that came out of it?
I'm happy with the. Well, I mean, I don't know how to work with ProRes, so I haven't really done very much with that. So most of my edited stuff that I've done to send to grandparents and so forth has been from the Insta stuff, because they make it so easy.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's good. I'm glad that I've got that footage, and I'll do something with it at some point. But yeah, no, I just wanted to try it. I have. It worked.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Nice.
I'm trying to think if I've got any other new toys. I got a Native Union sleeve for my iPad Pro, so that's the only computer I took away with me.
Okay. That looks nice.
And it's all right. I wouldn't pay the full price for it. I think it was like 30 quid on Prime Day. So that was quite nice. And the other thing I got was a continuity camera mount. So this is from a company called Sodi. Yeah, nice. And it's quite good in that it's got a counterweight on the back so that you can stick it on your display. But this bit, you can actually put the MagSafe charging puck in it. So at the moment, I've just got a plastic disc blanking plate, but you can put a proper MagSafe puck in there so that your camera is charging while you're using it as a webcam or whatever. But here's where things get fun. This whole thing at the top comes off so that you can use it on a laptop. So unlike Belkin's solution, where you need to buy one for your laptop and one for your external display, this Sodi one is all in one. That's a really fun thing.
I like that. That's a very useful.
And it's about 20 quid. So it's cheaper and better than the Belkin one, in my opinion.
Yeah. Nice. Good find.
And that's it. That's all the news. Yeah.
I mean, there's some vague Apple news at the moment, isn't there? It's well, the big one is the Apple TV sized, the rumoured Apple TV sized Mac Mini, the M4 Mac Mini, which we're expecting hopefully in the next couple of months, certainly before the year is out. Which I love the sound of. I think people who rack mount current Mac Minis won't be quite as enamoured by this, but you've said yourself numerous times on this podcast that the current chassis that the Mac Mini is occupying is just overkill by quite a magnitude, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's mostly air, isn't it? So I'm quite excited for that. I hope that they do some fun colours rather than just silver and space black or whatever.
Big thing, Larry orange, please, Tim. That's what we want. But no, I'm excited by that. I think, and also having the M4 chip in there, it's something we can finally put the M4 chip to use. Hopefully, plastic Apple Watch SE rumours.
You heard that? Those ones?
What was this?
I don't know how reliable these are, but yeah, there's some sketchy rumours floating around that there's going to be a bit of a rejig to the lineup to try and get the price point down, because there are so many good competitors now, aren't there? Like the CMF watch, for example, that's 60 quid or something, and is fine. So I think there'll be possibly they'll make the SE plastic so they can reduce the price and then bring down your regular Apple Watch in price. So I think they and then there's whatever magic they do with the special one that's supposed to be coming, the anniversary edition. But I think they're trying to nudge people towards the higher end, your ultras and that sort of thing. And it does seem that more people buy. I thought there was some stats released recently, some sort of market analysis where people are buying more ultras than SEs. So I guess they'll want to sort of rejig that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had the iPhone Air rumours, didn't we? Which I learned about on my own website. Someone else wrote the article about it. I had no idea until I read it, and which is a strange thing. But and like iPhone 16. I mean, is this going to be a bit of a damp squib this year? probably.
I think it is. So, I think the only interesting thing about the 16, according to Mr. Gurman, is that they're going to move the action button to the bottom right-hand corner, make it 2-stage, so you've got soft press to focus and then full press to take the thing. But also, you'll be able to swipe it left to right to zoom.
Interesting. That would make it more useful, actually. In fairness, because I don't know about you, but the action. I mean, I've not been using the iPhone for quite a while now, but the action button just didn't get any use for me. But to make it more Sony-like, I'm all for that.
Yeah, so that's quite good. And while we're on the iPhone, you know Halid, the third-party sort of pro control camera app. In their latest version, they've got a zero processing mode that gives you pure raw output, so it completely bypasses any computational photography.
Okay.
If you want
Who's going to use
level
that?
of control,
Just out of interest, yeah. I mean,
yeah, purists. Well, people who actually know how to take photographs. I think it's no good for me. I like just pressing the button and having a nice picture come out. Having Daddy Tim do all the work for me.
I'm Daddy Tim sat there in Lightroom sorting it out for you. Well, that was it. I mean, rumor-wise, a HomePod with a display. Is this
that's interesting,
on your
isn't
behalf,
it?
or is this what is this?
Well, no. So we talked about this last time, and we talked about something that sort of akin to an iMac G3. You know, a sort of a speaker base with an articulated arm and a display. And I thought, well, we haven't seen a refreshed iPad Mini, have we? So what if their solution for a smart home speaker with a display is a speaker base and an iPad Mini, a bit like the Pixel tablet and dock combination? And it gets more interesting because of the release of DockKit. Are you familiar with DockKit?
I feel like I am, but you might have to remind me.
So Apple have in recent iOS releases, they've given developers and hardware manufacturers a new API called DockKit, which is just a set of functionality to allow pan and tilt and zooming in and all of that sort of stuff. And there are a couple of products out there. There's an Insta360 gimbal, which is DockKit compatible, and also a Belkin auto tracking 360 pan 90-degree tilt stand with built-in battery and stuff. So it's like, when you consider DockKit and the sort of things that can do, i.e., the ability for your iPhone to interface with a gimbal or with a stand and have it pan and tilt automatically. And then these other rumours that have come out about some sort of HomePod robotic smart home device coming in sort of 2026, 2027. Those rumours, if you see them, it sounds exactly like a G4 iMac, but with a touch screen and a speaker as the base rather than a computer. So apparently it's got a sort of articulated arm that will follow you around the room and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. I've been moaning about wanting a HomePod with a display for ages. I'm so over Alexa now.
Yeah, I am as well. I've taken the big HomePod back home this week because the Google Pixel tablet just will not recognise Jen anymore. It's just, I don't know if it's because she's at home more than me, but it's completely fed up with her. It doesn't respond to her at all. So I thought, okay, let's give the HomePod a chance again. So yesterday evening I installed it. Begrudgingly, because I know how horrendous Siri still is at the moment, but we'll see what happens with that. But I'm a bit like you. I'd like to see something new. I want something more interesting to play with, particularly with the better Siri on the way. We need something to make the most use of that in the home, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, on the subject of like new smart home stuff, there's a couple of interesting things because I'm right into my smart home. I haven't done any smart home stuff for ages because I kind of over the past, since I've lived here, I've just smart homed everything, haven't I? My Tony Stark couch and my it's automatic blinds and curtain closers, and every light bulb in the house is Hue, etc. So yeah, I'm fully all of the radiators have got thermostatic smart valves on them. What I've wanted for ages is a home key compatible smart lock that works with our locks. So there are loads of home key compatible smart locks that work with a deadbolt, as you find in lots of places around the world, but we have Euro cylinders. And so the first home key compatible smart lock that works with a Euro cylinder has come out from Aquara. And I quite like Aquara. Have you used any Aquara stuff?
I have, yeah. A security camera. I think I featured it on the channel a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was good stuff. It was affordable, well built.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got a couple of their presence sensors, and they work really well. They're not for the faint-hearted. You really do need to spend some time setting them up. It's not just stick it on the wall and expect it to work. You need to map out your zones and tune it a bit. But once you've got it dialed in, it's fantastic. So I'll be quite interested in that. I think that's out now. There's Switchbot is another smart home company that I think I've talked about a fair bit. I've got a number of their IR blasters and things like that for automating things. So like I made a dumb Dyson fan smart using a SmartBot infrared thingy. But they've got an interesting universal remote has come out. So back in the day, I used to use a Logitech Harmony. Do you remember those?
I do. I used to have one as well.
Yeah. So Logitech killed that, and it relied on like a back-end server to work properly. So I don't use that anymore. And to be fair, I mostly use the remote app on my phone now, or shortcuts or whatever. But it looks quite interesting because it does your IR blasting, it does your Bluetooth, it does your home kit. It'll control anything more or less, which is quite interesting. You having a look at it now?
Yeah, 60 quid. That's not bad either, is it?
It's not bad.
It's not a bad price. It looks nicely designed. It looks a bit Apple TV remote, but properly designed, doesn't it? Like the bad Apple TV remote that you couldn't work out which way was the right way.
Yeah, so I'll stick a link to that in the show notes because that's quite interesting. I haven't got one. I'm not planning on getting one because I think all of my remote control needs are served. But yeah, I have no reason to believe that it won't do what they say it does, based on my experience of other Switchbot.
It looks like it should.
Products. And then, like Nest have released a 4th gen thermostat after 10 years, more than 10 years. When did the 3rd gen come out?
I have absolutely no idea. 10 years, that's a long time, isn't it?
And it looks like a giant Pixel watch. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I'm just looking now.
It's just a big circular disc of display.
Oh, okay, yeah. It is, yeah. That's like a Pixel Watch Ultra on your wall.
So
it's quite nice. I like it. It looks good.
A Flavor Flav Pixel Watch.
Put it on a big chain, stick it around your neck.
So that's coming out on the 20th of August. I don't think I'll be getting one because my 10-year-old one still works. I can't really see any compelling reason to. I mean, it looks much nicer. It's got a display on it and show you the weather and other stuff. But I never look at my thermostat. The whole point of the Nest thermostat was you install it and then you never think about it again. And that's exactly what I've done. And I will continue to do that, I think.
I don't blame you at all. It's the whole point of them, isn't it? Looks nice, though. If you need a new one, then if you're new to the Nest game, then fair enough.
Yeah, if you haven't got one or you need one, I mean, I can tell you they work. But while we're on the subject of Google, there was a surprise Google event, wasn't there?
So, it was a surprise for some people, I think, and not a surprise for others. But we've got new Pixels. Well, we've got new Pixels, although most of the event felt a bit like a Gemini AI thing, didn't it? Really? Did you watch it? Were you
invited to it?
No, I wasn't. There's I'll be careful what I say about this because I'm not in the business of burning bridges, and to be fair, we don't have the full facts to hand. Although you've only got to very quickly go across X or any other kind of social platform at the moment, and if you look deep enough, there are some creators, some of whom I know very well, who are very disgruntled, including Mr. Who's the Boss, who publicly has said, if you're waiting for our Google Pixel review, it's not there at the moment because we weren't invited to the event. We haven't been given devices. And it's been the case in the UK since the start of the year that Pixel devices haven't been sent out to most people. There were some UK creators who went to the event. Adam Asbit, he was there. as was, he's not British, but he's based in the UK. He's based in Manchester. Zone of Tech, Daniel.
All right, yeah.
Really nice guy. I've met him as well. Lovely guy. He was there as well. Tom Tech chap, he had it, but he wasn't there, so he's got the Pixel 9. I've noticed that he's doing some Instagram stuff on it. But yeah, things have changed quite significantly. And the only thing I would say about this is that it kind of proves what I've always suspected really in this business, and I've experienced myself on several occasions, is that you can't take anything for granted. And also, brands they do their own thing. Marketing companies change, PR agencies get swapped around. Things are happening that we don't know about. We don't know what's going on. The one thing I will say is there's definitely a swing towards lifestyle influencers when it comes to the type of people that these brands are targeting, which makes total sense if you're one of these brands. You've got the choice of sending devices out to tech reviewers, creators, whatever you want to call us, who are going to critique the devices. If there's something wrong with it, either big or slightly amiss, we're going to mention it. A lifestyle, and I've got nothing against lifestyle creators at all, but they have a very different approach to what they're doing. Their job is to show themselves in lovely locations, drinking certain types of energy drink, or getting into a Porsche, or whatever it might be, or holding a particular phone. That's what they do. That's what their audience is all about, and their audiences are massive. So why on earth wouldn't you give devices to those people if you were the brand? It makes total sense. It is de-risking that quite massively because, like I say, it's unlikely those people are going to pick fault with the fact that the only thing that's changed with the Pixel 9 camera system is the aperture on the ultra-wide lens. They don't care about that stuff, and understandably. So there's a lot.
It's actually the sensor. It's a 48 megapixel sensor now.
Exactly. There you go. Even I don't know. But there's a lot behind this, I think, and it's very early days. But this year there's been a big change. Cards on the table. I've been given Pixel devices since the 7 Pro, the 7 series, I think it was. Everything since then, and I've directed an awful lot of traffic to those devices. I think I made the 7 Pro my phone of the year. I made it very clear that I preferred the Pixel Fold over the Fold 5 or whatever it was at the time. None of that makes a difference, and that's the way it is.
But this year, all of the YouTubers moaning about not being invited to any Team Pixel events, all of you, without fail, without exception, have switched to a Galaxy Ultra 24.
True. That's a very good point.
So I saw that tweet from Mr. Who Are the Boss.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's floating around is the Team Pixel terms and conditions. Have you seen the screenshot from that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I will read it out here. It says, please note that if it appears other brands are being preferred over the Pixel, we will need to cease the relationship between the brand and the creator. And you have to acknowledge and agree to that if you want to be part of Team Pixel. I get that. I imagine they're probably pretty cheesed off, aren't they? Because everyone seems to have gotten to bed with Samsung instead.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, we should say about this thing as well. I know this is from Google Pixel because I know a creator in the US who's been given this form. Although let me retract that. It's not. We don't think it's directly from Google Pixel. It's potentially from the PR company involved. One or the other. We don't know for definite. So there's no. We don't know. We won't cast aspersions with that either. But it's a genuine form for US creators who want to remain in the Team Pixel thing. We don't get a similar thing over here. There's a few things that you sign occasionally, but I've never seen anything like that. I believe, again, can't confirm, but I believe that in Canada, the guys over there, they're not being asked to sign anything like this either. I kind of get that. Equally, it depends who's being sent these forms. I mean, if you're a reviewer, you can't agree to that because you are going to feature other phones. It's impossible. Okay, if that's their policy, fine, but it's not going to work for me because I might find a phone that's better than the Pixel. I can't then think I can't show that because I've signed this. That doesn't work. If you're a Team Pixel member, like I say, a lifestyle creator or someone who will be using that device for the next year, 2 years, whatever, sign it because you're not going to be using an iPhone or whatever. That's good stuff. It's a good point on the S24 side of things. Although the only thing I'd say about that is that I don't think many people ever switched to the Pixel. I never did full time. I used it for quite a bit, and I still love the Pixel lineup. This is what frustrated me about the Pixel event. It was this week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This week, which was I think they just brushed over the hardware because they're obsessed with AI, and we could spend an entire hour on this as well. But I don't
you watched
believe
it?
that. I ended up watching Ben from Lover of Tech's live stream. He was doing it with Gadget's boy Tommy, and I noticed that they were doing a live stream. I got bored of the Pixel one and just watched those guys talk about it, which was far more entertaining. Did you watch it?
No, I watched everything you need to know.
EastEnders.
10 minutes, supercut of it. I think the reason they skipped over the hardware is because there's nothing interesting to tell. It is the marginal hardware improvement. So the Tensor G4 is a waste of time. I mean, it's a bit faster. It's still way behind your equivalent Qualcomm or iPhone chip. I think the biggest improvements would be the fact it's got an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is 50% faster, except for the Fold that doesn't have a in-screen fingerprint sensor, and they've all got 12 to 16 gigs of RAM for the AI stuff. Oh, and satellite SOS out of the box, which Google keeps saying they're going to bring to the Pixel 7 and 8 and haven't to date, but it will have satellite SOS out of the box, in case you do a Dr. Mosley. That was incredibly poor taste. He was a really nice bloke. Apologies to the Mosley family. So yeah, there's a very, very slight battery capacity increase. The ultra-wide camera is up to 48 megapixels, but it's still only got 27 watts. Oh, we've got a laggy issue.
Rob's frozen. Is it what he said about Dr. Mosley? Has he been taken off the internet? He's been cancelled live on air. Oh, I thought you'd been cancelled.
Yeah, me too. Where was I? So very, very, very marginal hardware improvements. So it's a slight battery capacity increase, slight improvement on the ultra-wide camera, but the other camera, the main camera, is basically the same. Still only got 27 watt wired charging, which you think, well, that's fast enough, because I think the iPhone tops out at 27. I'm annoyed with that as well, since having the Magic V2, which charges at like 66 watts or something. Once you've tried it, and you see that your phone goes, whooshes up to 80% in like 5 minutes, you kind of miss it when it's not there. So I think, so the in terms of the actual hardware, there wasn't anything to tell. It's got a new design. It's got the squared off edges. The back glass is flat rather than rounded now, and it's got that new camera bar. I do like the Pixel camera bar because of the fact that when you lay the phone down, it doesn't wobble like pretty much every other camera bump. Although the CMF phone has gone one better, hasn't it? Because the twisty knob at the bottom where you can affix attachments to the CMF phone one, that helps counterbalance the camera bump, so that also lays flat on a table. So in terms of non-wobbliness, the CMF by Nothing Phone 1 wins that, I think. But it's $100 more expensive than last year's for squared off edges and a flat back. As far as I can tell.
It looks nice though, and it will still take amazing photos. It does look nice, by my reckoning. And also the Fold is quite different. That's what annoyed me a bit. I think the Fold, they've clearly. Have you seen it side by side with the old Fold? Yeah,
I think that I don't like it. Okay. I don't like it because the thing about the Pixel Fold was its cool passport size shape. That's what differentiated it from other foldables, and so I think going to a more standard aspect ratio, I don't know if I like that. And the thing is, it's still thicker than a Magic V2 and a Magic V3 consequently.
I think everything is so, isn't it?
So it's a waste of time.
It's just a waste of time. I reserve judgment until I get it, and I will be getting it obviously just a bit later this time. But
are you having to buy those yourself then?
Yeah, we've had to buy them in. So the Pixel 9 Pro, the naming convention's weird now. The Pixel 9 Pro XL and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, we've had to get them both in. But the consequence of this, and the reason that a lot of people are a bit salty about the lack of invites and the lack of device seeding is because we need to get this stuff in front of the audience quickly. And the problem that I've got now is that I won't get these devices until late August, early September. And by that point, does anyone care? Quite often they don't. And equally, I've got to fit it into a production calendar that is full of other stuff, full of iPhone stuff. And now I'm going away twice in the next couple of weeks. It makes things a little bit tricky, but we are thinking about the audience. We want to get the stuff in front of the audience, which is how we keep the lights on here and all that stuff. So it is frustrating, but it's just one of those things. We can't do much about it. There's a lot has changed this year, I think, with tech and certain brands. But it's just the way that the industry and everything evolves, really.
Yeah. I mean, aside from it not being unique anymore, I just don't like how it looks. Because again, I've got a real issue with rounded corners on squared off backs. So the front of the Pixel Fold 2 or the Pixel 9 Fold Pro or whatever it's called, it's the Pixel Fold 2 as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. But it's got like a squared off back with a normal rounded edge display on the front, and I don't like it. It looks weird to me. It's got comedy bezels. They're really thick bezels, both on the outside and the inside display. But what I did like was the Made You Look feature. Do you remember that?
Is it Made You Look? I was thinking of Add Me. Sorry. What's the Made You Look?
Yeah, well, that's another good feature
at this point.
So the Made You Look feature on the Fold specifically will put some engaging content on the outer display. So you open up your Fold, you go and take a picture of your child or your pet, and you'll know this, is that they just don't look at the camera, do they? They get bored. Yeah. So what this does is it puts some funny faces and things on the outer display, so that they're looking at the device while you take the photo. That's nice. That's clever. I like that. I mean, it's a bit niche, but I mean, we're into that era now where these things have got to be a bit niche, haven't they? So we should talk about the software. I mean, we mentioned they also released some Buds Pro 2 and a Watch 3 that's got a brighter screen, better battery life. There's a new, bigger size, a 45mm one. That's one of the reasons I didn't bother with the original, the last two iterations, because I thought it was a bit too small.
It was.
Slightly more interested now they've got a bigger size. And I think the most interesting thing about the Pixel Watch was the loss of pulse feature, which will inform you when you're dead. Call emergency services for you if it thinks that you've died. So that's
a
nice.
Notification you don't want to get.
So on the software side, the Add Me feature, that's quite cool, where you can take multiple photos. So you want to take like a group shot, and then there's, you don't want to hand off your expensive phone to a stranger, or you haven't got a tripod or whatever. And so there's always going to be someone in your group shot that is not in the group shot because they haven't to take the photo. So this Add Me photo allows you to take two photos and then mash them together so that everyone is in it. There's the pixel screenshots. That was quite interesting, which it's basically like Microsoft Recall, but less creepy. So it allows you to, if you're doing research for stuff, this resonated with me because I do genuinely do this. I will take screenshots of stuff to remember later and then search for it just using text strings and try and remember some keywords that were in that screenshot of that thing that I was researching. But with Gemini now, you'll be able to just say, can you show me those houses I was looking at last week?
Yeah, that's
and then it'll bring back those screenshots. That's very cool. There's the Cool Notes feature, which will give you an AI summary after a phone call. I don't know how that works with like privacy and stuff. I don't know whether you have to inform the person you're talking to that your call's going to be effectively recorded, transcribed, and then AI'd. I don't know how that works. Is there an announcement when you enable that feature? There probably is. I don't know. I can't remember. There's the Reimagine feature, which allows you to click on some element of the background and change it with something else. So you could change a hedge into a row of mountains, or change the sky out for a sunset, that sort of stuff. And that all happens in app using AI. Very clever, very seamless. And then the Magic Editor. This is a bit like stuff we've seen on the Samsung previously. So that will look sort of auto frame. It will, auto level the horizon. It'll crop. It'll fill in any missing bits around the edges. All of that kind of stuff. There's the fact that Gemini is now the default assistant rather than Googly Assistant.
Yep.
And the standout thing for Apple fans such as myself is the amount of shade that they threw at Apple Intelligence. So the three things that they pointed out was, one, Gemini is available all around the world in multiple languages. And obviously Apple Intelligence isn't out at all, and even when it is, it'll only support US English. They've even released adverts about this sort of Gemini can handle all of these complex requests without handing off to a third-party AI provider, i.e., ChatGPT, who you may not know or trust. So with Apple Intelligence, it'll try and do what it can on device, and for anything more complex, it will ask you, look, do you want to hand this off to ChatGPT? And so you have complete control over whether or not you want to keep it all on device or whether you want to send it off to ChatGPT. Google's claim here is that, we do that all ourselves. We don't have to hand it off to anyone else. But this is Google, who are just inherently untrustworthy and are going to use everything that you do to sell you things. So I don't know. I think that's a bit of an own goal on that one. And then for another own goal was the
demo.
They did a live demo, which is a bold
That was awkward,
move.
wasn't it? It was awkward.
And it failed. So they made a big thing about how, our AI demos are live, unlike the pre-recorded Apple Intelligence ones. And then it went wrong. So that was hilarious.
3 times, I think, wasn't it? They had to get, and a lot of people pointed out that it was Samsung devices that they were using, which may have been causing the problem. But it was, bless him, I can't remember the guy's name, but he handled it very well, I thought, because that was an excruciating few seconds, wasn't it? Horrible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we have gone over time, but that's because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay. We can always go over an hour if we need to. But no, I think, it's just been a crazy few weeks, but nothing really spectacular, which is weird. Anything silly? Just to very quickly finish on.
The silliest thing I've seen recently is a new case accessory for the Playdate, which makes it look like a generic pizza box. Just because.
Why not? I mean,
so you get a
Playdate AI stuff.
Playdate.pizza, just a case for your Playdate that makes it look like a pizza. I mean, that's about as niche as it gets, isn't it?
I love it.
Yeah, on the one hand,
it's
obviously,
refreshing.
Things that look like other things, that's kind of my thing, isn't it?
Yep.
This is a stretch even for me, I think.
We've found something finally that is a thing that looks like another thing that is too much for Rob. Yeah. I think we should finish on that because that's never going to happen ever again. If it does, God knows what it's going to be. Thanks, Rob. We'll catch up again in a couple of weeks.
Will we? Because you're away again, aren't you?
Oh, we will. Oh, who knows? Well, let's leave it on
we'll
that.
Work it out.
We will return at some stage.
All right, cool. See ya.